stranded on a deserted planet. The ship's alarm blared loudly, a constant, annoying sound that seemed to vibrate through the metal walls. Captain Elena Harper gripped the controls, her fingers trembling as the sky outside turned from black to a fiery red. Her breath came in short gasps, the tension in the air thick enough to cut through. The ship had been hit by a meteor storm, and now they were spiraling towards an unknown planet. Elena had no choice. She had to land, or else they'd burn up in the atmosphere. With the control panel flashing red, she punched a few commands, trying to stabilize the descent. She had trained for this moment, but nothing could have prepared her for the terror of a planet that wasn't supposed to be here. Her ship was losing power, and the view outside became nothing but a blur of orange and yellow. The burning heat of re-entry sent a wave of panic through her chest. A loud crash echoed, and the entire ship jolted. Elena's body was thrown forward, her face slamming against the control panel. She saw stars for a moment, and then everything went black. When Elena woke, everything was quiet. The ship had come to a violent halt, but somehow she was still alive. Her head ached, and her body felt bruised, but she managed to sit up and check the damage. Her legs wobbled as she made her way to the cockpit window. Outside, there was nothing but a barren desert stretching for miles. The ground was cracked and lifeless, the air heavy with dust and the smell of something unfamiliar. Elena's heart pounded in her chest as she realized that this was no ordinary planet. There were no signs of life, no other ships in the distance. It was just her and the wreckage of her ship. She checked the ship's systems, but there was no response. The controls were dead. She was stranded, with no way to communicate with Earth or her team. Alone, in the middle of nowhere. Her survival instincts kicked in. She needed to find shelter. Stepping out of the ship, Elena's boots crunched against the dry, rocky ground. The sun beat down harshly, its heat nearly unbearable. She pulled her jacket tighter around her, shielding herself from the sun's intensity. The desolation stretched in every direction, making it hard to tell which way to go. There was no hint of civilization, no sign of water. She had to find something, anything that could help her survive. As Elena moved further into the desert, she noticed something strange. Among the rocks, she saw a shimmer, as though the air itself was alive. Curiosity pushed her forward, and with every step, the shimmer became clearer. Then she saw it. Half buried in the sand, a dark, almost metallic figure was partially exposed. It was an alien creature, unconscious and injured. Her heart skipped a beat. Elena knelt down, cautious but curious. She couldn't tell what it was. An alien? Some kind of machine? She had no idea. But she couldn't leave it here. She reached out to touch its surface, and the creature's body shuddered, slowly beginning to stir. Elena froze, her heart racing. She wasn't sure if it was a danger, but she knew one thing for sure. She wasn't alone on this deserted planet anymore. The alien's eyes snapped open. They were glowing, strange, otherworldly, and for a moment, they locked onto hers. Elena's breath caught in her throat. This was just the beginning. The answers to this planet's mysteries had just begun to unfold. But one thing was clear. She had to figure out how to survive. And somehow, the alien would play a part in that. The alien awakens. The desert stretched endlessly, a sea of brown dust and jagged rocks. Elena was still standing over the unconscious. Alien, her breath shallow, her heart thudding in her chest. There was a strange kind of stillness in the air as she watched the alien's body twitch slightly. She had no idea what it was or how it had gotten here. But in that moment, she knew one thing. She couldn't just leave it. As the seconds ticked by, the alien's eyes fluttered open, glowing a soft, eerie blue. For a moment, it seemed to study her, its strange, almost human-like gaze locking onto hers. Elena's hand froze in midair as she prepared to retreat. But the alien did not attack. It just stared. She felt a rush of fear and curiosity swirl inside her. The alien's body was sleek, like nothing Elena had ever seen before. It was covered in scales that shimmered in the sun, shifting colors as if alive. Its limbs were long and thin, yet powerful, and its skin emitted a faint, almost translucent glow, blending with the planet's strange atmosphere. Its eyes, though alien, were intelligent. Elena took a cautious step back, her instincts telling her to be careful, but a part of her, something deep within, urged her to stay, to help. She knelt down slowly, trying to ignore the racing thoughts in her head. "Can you understand me?" she asked, her voice trembling. The alien's eyes flickered as it made a soft, gurgling noise. It wasn't speaking, not in any way that was familiar, but there was a presence behind the sound, like it was trying to communicate. After a few moments of stillness, the alien tried to move, its body stiff but gradually coming to life. It shifted its limbs, struggling to sit up. Elena watched, fascinated and terrified all at once, as the alien's face twitched in what might have been confusion. Its mouth opened slightly, and a low, hum-like sound escaped. Elena had no idea what it meant, but she could feel that the creature wasn't hostile. It was simply lost. Elena took another step closer, her voice more gentle this time. "Do you need help?" The alien's eyes fixed on her again, and its body shuddered as it tried to speak. This time, it produced a low melodic sound that made Elena pause. She couldn't understand the words, but it felt meaningful, as if it was trying to explain something. She was beginning to understand that the creature might not be from a place she could even begin to imagine. Its body, its language, it all screamed alien, yet there was an undeniable pull, a connection she couldn't explain. It wasn't just a stranded creature, it was something more. A loud hiss filled the air, and Elena jumped back in surprise. The alien had suddenly pressed its hand to its chest, a strange pulse of light racing through its fingertips. The air around them rippled, and for a moment Elena felt dizzy, like the very atmosphere had shifted. Before she could react, the alien's eyes widened in pain, and it collapsed back to the ground with a grunt. Panic surged through Elena, but she fought to stay calm. She needed to think. She needed to act. She pulled off her pack and rummaged through it, desperate for any kind of medical supplies, but nothing in her basic first aid kit could help with whatever was happening to the alien. Its body seemed to react to something invisible, its skin shifting and pulsating as if struggling to stay alive. Elena took a deep breath and made a decision. "I'm not leaving you here," she muttered, more to herself than to the alien. Kneeling beside it, she carefully reached out, gently touching its arm. The creature seemed to relax just for a moment. A strange warmth spread through her fingertips as if the alien was communicating with her through touch. She could almost feel its thoughts, a blur of emotion and confusion. The alien wasn't just surviving. It was trying to heal, and somehow Elena felt a deep, unspoken understanding. She didn't know how or why, but it was as if their fates were already intertwined. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with blood-red hues, Elena realized that she wasn't alone on this planet anymore. This alien, whatever it was, would be her only companion in a world that didn't seem to care about their survival. But one thing was for sure. The real question wasn't just how she would survive. It was how she would survive with an alien. And with each passing moment, it was becoming more clear that the answers would be anything but simple. Growing tension days passed, and the barren planet remained just as empty, as silent, as lifeless as the moment Elena had first set foot on it. The scorching heat of the desert sun would give way to chilling, eerie nights, where the silence was only broken by the distant winds howling across the rocky terrain. Yet, amidst this endless isolation, something had changed, something unsettling, but undeniably powerful. Elena had learned more about the alien with each passing hour. It wasn't just a survivor like her. It was different. From the moment it had regained consciousness, the alien had begun to recover. Its strange physiology, working at an accelerated pace. Its wounds healed within hours, and its strength seemed to grow by the day. Elena had never seen anything like it. She had begun to speak to the alien more, trying to understand what it was, where it came from. It didn't speak a word of her language, but they had found a way to communicate. It made sounds, strange musical noises that were more like vibrations than actual speech. Its eyes, those glowing otherworldly orbs, seemed to reflect its thoughts, shifting in color with its mood. But despite the bizarre connection that had formed between them, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper was happening. She had no idea why she had come to this desolate world, or why the alien was here too, but she couldn't ignore the odd pull that kept growing between them. It was as if their fates were intertwined, like two threads pulled together by an invisible hand. One evening, as the alien sat beside a small campfire they had managed to start, Elena felt it again, an odd sensation that made the hairs on the back of her neck stand up. The air was thick with tension, charged with a current she couldn't see but could feel deep inside her chest. She watched as the alien's eyes flickered toward her, its strange, almost hypnotic gaze locking onto hers. Something about the way it looked at her made her heart race, a surge of heat spreading through her body, as though an invisible bond was tightening around them. Elena couldn't help herself. She had to ask. "What are you?" she whispered, though she wasn't sure if the alien could even comprehend the words. Its gaze softened, and for a moment she thought it might reply, but instead it tilted its head, and then its hand reached out slowly, as if testing the air between them. Elena felt her breath catch in her throat as it extended its long, shimmering fingers toward her. Something inside her stirred, a deep, primal urge she couldn't explain. She hesitated for only a fraction of a second before she reached out, her fingers brushing lightly against its. The touch was electric. A jolt of energy shot through her, unlike anything she had ever felt before. It wasn't pain, but it wasn't just warmth either. It was something more, a connection, raw and unfiltered, that seemed to bypass logic and reason entirely. She gasped, pulling her hand back, her pulse racing. The alien, too, seemed surprised by the intensity of the moment. Its eyes widened, glowing even brighter as it pulled its hand back. For a second, neither of them moved, both of them caught in the strange tension that hung between them. Elena's mind raced. That wasn't normal. None of this was normal. She had read the reports on alien life, but this wasn't just a discovery. It was something more personal. This was something that made her question everything she thought she knew about life, about biology, about survival. And then there was the change. She began to feel it within herself. At first, she thought it was just the stress of being stranded on an alien world, but the symptoms had intensified in the past few days. Her body was shifting. Not in the way the alien's wounds had healed. No, this felt different. There were changes inside her, subtle but undeniable. Her senses were heightened, her body felt strange, like something inside her was growing. The thought made her stomach churn. She hadn't had time to process what was happening to her, but now, as she sat in the dim light of the fire, the truth was slowly becoming clearer. There was a possibility, a terrifying one, that this wasn't just a random alien encounter. No, this was something much bigger, something that tied her to this planet and to the alien in a way she hadn't expected. As Elena stumbled to her feet, her thoughts swirling, she caught a glimpse of the alien watching her, its eyes glowing, with a kind of knowing. It wasn't just watching her survival, it wasn't just curious, it was waiting. And that's when it hit her. The alien wasn't just here by chance, it wasn't just stranded. It had come to this planet for a reason, and so had she. The growing tension between them, the strange connection that sparked each time they came near, was not an accident. There was something inside her, something she couldn't fully understand that was growing just like the alien itself. And whatever it was, whatever was happening, it was starting to feel like the beginning of something that neither of them could stop. The question now was, what would it mean for both of them when it was all over? The revelation. The days blurred into nights, and Elena could feel the weight of her isolation settling deeper into her bones. She had become accustomed to the alien's presence, its quiet company, its strange glances, and the way it seemed to observe her with a kind of understanding, she couldn't put into words. It was as if they both knew something the other didn't, but neither had been willing to admit it. The connection between them had only intensified. At night, when the firelight flickered weakly against the dark desert sky, Elena would feel the alien's presence beside her, its energy rippling through the air like a quiet hum, and yet, there was always an unspoken distance between them, something unacknowledged but ever present. That night, however, things were different. The alien had been acting strange all day, restless, almost agitated. Elena noticed the way its body shifted, how its eyes seemed to flicker with an unreadable emotion. She couldn't help but wonder what was happening. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows over the rocky desert floor, the alien approached her. Its movements were slower than usual, almost as if it was preparing for something. Elena watched it, a sense of unease creeping up her spine. "What's wrong?" she asked quietly, her voice barely rising above the desert wind. For a moment the alien didn't respond. Then, slowly, it extended its arm, as if offering it to her. Elena hesitated, wondering what it wanted. After a few moments of silence, she reached out and gently placed her hand against its skin. The contact was familiar now, but it still carried the strange charge that made her pulse quicken. Suddenly, the alien's eyes glowed even brighter than usual, and a low, deep vibration hummed through the air. Elena stumbled back slightly, her heart racing as the ground beneath her feet seemed to tremble. And then, in a voice that wasn't a voice at all, more like a sensation in her mind, the alien spoke. "You are not just here by accident." The words weren't spoken in any language she could understand, but they echoed in her mind with such clarity that it was impossible to ignore them. Elena's breath caught in her throat, her mind racing to make sense of what she was hearing. Was this some kind of telepathy? Or was she just imagining things? But before she could respond, the alien's form seemed to shimmer, and a series of images flashed in her mind. Images of the alien's homeworld, vast and advanced, surrounded by strange alien cities glowing with life. There were glimpses of a powerful race, beings of unimaginable strength and intellect, their civilization thriving. But there was something else too. Something darker. The images shifted again, showing the alien in the midst of a catastrophic event. A war or a disaster, she couldn't tell. There were flashes of destruction, and a voice, distorted and alien, whispered in the background. "We were sent to explore, but we were not meant to connect." Not like this. Elena's head spun as the images faded and the alien's eyes returned to their usual glow. She staggered back, trying to make sense of what she had just experienced. It was as if the alien had opened a door in her mind, a door she wasn't ready to walk through. "What? What did you show me?" she whispered, her voice shaky. The alien's form seemed to ripple, as if struggling to convey something more. Its eyes flickered again, and for the first time, Elena saw something akin to sorrow in its gaze. "I am part of a mission," it began, the words no longer just a sensation but an understanding. "We were sent to explore your planet to learn, but I was not supposed to make contact like this. We were never meant to." The alien paused, its body shifting uneasily. Elena could feel the tension in the air, the weight of the revelation sinking in. It was more than just a stranded being. It was part of something larger, something that involved her in ways she didn't fully understand. "You are not just an accident. You are connected to this." Elena's mind raced as she tried to piece together what the alien was saying. Her heart pounded in her chest, a mix of fear and awe washing over her. She had always known she was different, that there was something more to her mission here on this planet. But now, the truth was beginning to take shape. This wasn't just a crash landing. This wasn't just a random encounter. The alien's mission, the strange pull between them, it was all connected and she was a part of it. But what did that mean for her? And what did it mean for the alien? Suddenly, a sharp pain struck deep within Elena's chest. She gasped, stumbling, backward, clutching her side. The alien's eyes widened in alarm, its hand reaching out to steady her. And that's when she felt it. Something was changing inside her. Her body, her very being, was shifting. It was more than just the strange connection she shared with the alien. It was something physical, something undeniable. "It has begun," the alien whispered, its voice carrying an unmistakable weight of finality. Elena's heart raced as she realized that whatever was happening to her, it was tied to the alien, to the mission, and to the very planet they were stranded on. She was no longer just a survivor. She was part of something far greater, and the consequences of that, she feared, might be more than she could handle. A mysterious connection, the two. Days bled into one another, as relentless and monotonous as the planet's endless desert. But Elena could feel something shifting inside her. It wasn't just the heat of the sun or the desperation of being stranded. It was the alien and the strange, undeniable bond that had formed between them. The pull between them was becoming harder to ignore. At first, it had been subtle. Just fleeting moments, the brush of a hand, the flash of understanding in the alien's glowing eyes. But now it was something more. It was a force, something beyond physical connection. It vibrated in her bones, hummed in the spaces between her thoughts, like the planet itself was alive with energy. And the more she tried to push it away, the stronger it became. One evening, as the twin moons began to rise over the horizon, Elena sat by their small fire, her eyes locked on the flickering flames. The alien sat beside her, its presence a constant at her side. She had begun to think of it almost as a shadow, something always lingering at the edge of her vision, always there, but never fully understood. The air around them grew still, and for the first time, Elena noticed how the alien's body seemed to shimmer faintly in the moonlight. Its skin, once an unsettling metallic sheen, now pulsed with soft, vibrant colors, like an alien heartbeat. Elena swallowed hard, fighting the unsettling thoughts that had begun to creep in. Then, as though it had sensed her unease, the alien's eyes locked onto hers, and for a brief moment it seemed to read her thoughts. Elena's heart skipped. Was this what it felt like to be truly understood? To have someone, or something, know you without words, without explanation? The air shifted again, heavier this time, as though something had clicked between them. Elena's breath caught. She wasn't just in this strange alien world to survive. She was here to learn, to be changed. But changed into what? As if it could hear the question. The alien slowly reached out, its hand trembling slightly. Elena hesitated, but something inside her urged her to accept it. With a deep breath, she extended her own hand toward it. The moment their hands touched, the air between them thickened, alive with an energy she had never felt before. A flash of images flooded her mind. Flashes of landscapes she had never seen before, places that were alien to her, and then images of her own body, writhing in pain. The world around her blurred, and for a moment she was no longer sure if she was standing on this strange desert planet, or if she had somehow been transported to another place entirely. "You are not just a survivor here, Elena," the alien's voice hummed in her mind. "You are the key to the future." The words echoed in her mind long after the moment had passed, and Elena pulled her hand back, her heart hammering in her chest. She couldn't understand what had just happened. The alien's touch had been like a jolt of electricity, like the very fabric of reality had bent and twisted. She staggered back, struggling to catch her breath. You can't be serious," Elena muttered, her voice barely above a whisper. "What do you mean? What future?" The alien's eyes flickered, glowing brighter as though it was trying to find the words, if words were even capable of explaining what it meant. It seemed to hesitate before it responded, its form shifting and rippling slightly. "You are the beginning," it finally said. "The beginning of something new, something beyond your understanding." Elena's mind raced. "What are you saying?" she demanded. "What does that mean? Why me?" The alien remained silent, but its eyes never left hers, watching her with an intensity that made her feel like she was being scrutinized down to the very soul. Elena took a step back, confused and afraid, but the alien followed, its form moving fluidly and gracefully across the sand, as if there were no limits to its presence. A tremor ran through Elena's body, a wave of dizziness washing over her as her thoughts began to unravel. The connection, whatever it was growing stronger, and the more she resisted it, the more it pulled her in. But this connection wasn't just mental, it was biological. She could feel it now, deep within her, the changes that had been slowly creeping into her body. Her skin tingled, her senses sharpened, and a strange warmth settled in her core. Something was growing inside her, something that wasn't just the child she had feared, but something far more intricate, more foreign, more powerful. She gasped, stumbling back, her hand clutching her chest. "No," she whispered, shaking, her head. "This can't be happening, I can't be—" The alien stepped forward, its body flickering in the moonlight as if it had been waiting for her to finally understand. It extended its arm toward her again, and this time, Elena didn't pull away. She didn't have the strength to resist. "You are becoming one with me," the alien said softly, its voice now a melodic hum that filled the air. "And you are not alone." Elena's breath caught, and the world around her seemed to fade into the background. She could feel the alien's pulse, its heartbeat deep inside her. The connection was undeniable. She had been right all along. They were bound together, not just in survival, but in something far more profound. And as she stood there, trembling beneath the weight of this revelation, Elena knew that her life, as she had known it, was over. She wasn't just stranded anymore. She was part of something far bigger, something that could change the future of both their worlds. But at what cost? And now, there was no turning back. The desert winds whispered softly through the night, carrying with them the strange, otherworldly hum of the planet. Elena sat alone by the fire, her mind a storm of questions, each one more tangled than the last. The alien, no, the creature she had come to share this desolate world with, was not just a survivor. It was something much older, much more complicated, and its presence here on this barren planet was no accident. Elena had always prided herself on her ability to analyze, to break down problems. But this connection, this mysterious force, between them, it defied everything she knew. She had come here as a scientist, but now it felt as though she was part of a story written long before she arrived. The alien was sitting across from her, its glowing eyes watching the fire flicker, in silence. Its form shimmered in the low light, and for a moment it almost looked like it was struggling with something. Its body shifted as though preparing to speak, only it didn't use words. Instead, there was a faint hum, a vibration that pulsed in the air. The connection, the one that had started as an undercurrent, was now undeniable. Elena could feel the words before they came, like they were already planted inside her thoughts, waiting to be spoken. "You must know." The alien's voice echoed in her mind, deeper now, carrying a weight of sorrow. "I was not sent here by chance. We, my people, have been wandering for centuries." Elena leaned forward, her heart racing. This was it, the moment she had been waiting for, the moment when the alien would reveal the truth. She tried to steady her breath, her mind frantic with the need for answers. "We were explorers," it continued, its voice laced with a strange regret. "A race of beings, created for the sole purpose of discovering new worlds. But we were also weapons. For years, our people sent us out, scattered across the galaxy, to find planets with life. But we were never meant to be part of the planets. We visited." The weight of the words pressed heavily on Elena. She hadn't expected this. Weapons? It felt almost too much to comprehend. And yet, it made sense in a twisted way. The power she had felt in its touch, the strange pull between them, the way her body had changed, all of it seemed to fall into place. "Our kind," the alien continued, its voice quieter now, "was never meant to form bonds. We were made to observe, to learn, and then to leave. But..." It paused, as if searching for the right words. I was different. I was not content with just being a soldier and explorer. I wanted more. I needed more. So I broke away from my mission. I refused to follow the orders, and that is why I am here, stranded. Elena's mind spun. The alien, this creature, had gone rogue. It had rebelled against its own people. I was sent to collect data on human life to observe your species from afar. The alien continued, its eyes dimming slightly. But when I found you, when I saw you, everything changed. I did not expect to connect with you, with anyone. I thought I was above it. A strange, hollow feeling settled in Elena's chest. She didn't know if she should be moved or angry. The alien had chosen to break away from its mission, to risk everything, and now they were stuck here together. But why? Why her? You are not like the others. The alien's voice spoke again, its words heavy with meaning. Your people have a strength I did not understand, and now I see that strength in you. In us. Elena's breath hitched. Was it talking about the bond between them? The strange, undeniable connection that had been growing since the first moment they met? Was it possible that her role in all of this, her survival, was more than just a twist of fate? That maybe, just maybe, she had been chosen for something far beyond her comprehension? The alien shifted, standing slowly, its body glowing more brightly now, as if it was trying to find the courage to continue. But there is more you must understand, it said, its voice soft but urgent. The ones who sent me are not kind. They will come for me, for both of us, if they find out what I have done. And when they arrive, they will not stop until they have what they want. The air between them thickened. Elena's pulse quickened. What do they want? She asked, her voice barely a whisper, though she was afraid to know the answer. They want you, Elena, the alien said, its tone darkening. They want us both. They will take everything from you, from me. Our connection, our bond. It is the key to something they have been searching for, and they will stop at nothing to use it. Elena stumbled backward, her hands gripping the edge of the fire pit for balance. The weight of its words was like a physical blow. She wasn't just a survivor, she wasn't just stranded. She was part of something much bigger, something dangerous. Her eyes darted to the alien, the creature that had saved her, the one who had become her only companion on this forsaken planet. You have to trust me, the alien said, its voice full of desperation. You must understand. There is no escape from this. You are part of something that cannot be undone. Elena's mind reeled. The future she had imagined, the simple hope of getting off this planet, seemed more and more impossible by the second. She wasn't just fighting for survival anymore. She was fighting against something much larger, something that would change the course of both their worlds. And she realized in that moment that nothing would ever be the same again. The aliens' past, its rebellion, its people, they were coming. And the future, her future, was about to be rewritten. The final choice. The planet was silent that night, save for the low hum of the desert winds that whispered through the cracked, barren landscape. The twin moons hung low in the sky, their light casting eerie shadows over the ruins of Elena's ship and the strange, otherworldly being that had once been her only source of comfort. But now, nothing was simple anymore. The alien's revelations had twisted her world into something unrecognizable. Her heart was heavy with the weight of the decision she had been avoiding, the decision she could no longer delay. She was caught between two worlds, one of survival, and the other of something much darker, much more dangerous. The truth was clear now. She wasn't just a victim of fate. She was part of a story that was bigger than anything she could have imagined. The alien stood at her side, its glowing eyes searching her face as if trying to gauge her every thought. It was no longer the mysterious, distant figure that had once been a mere curiosity. It was something more now, something connected to her, tied to her very existence. It had shared its past with her, told her of its people and their cold, calculating motives. And now they both knew what was coming. They will come for us, the alien whispered, its voice low and solemn. They will come for you, for me, for everything we've become. Elena felt a chill run through her body. The alien wasn't just speaking of a distant threat, it was a certainty. The race of beings that had sent it here, the same beings that had turned it into something more than a mere explorer, were coming. They were relentless, and they would stop at nothing to take what they believed was theirs. But there was something else. The alien had made it clear. She was the key. She wasn't just a survivor anymore. She was the link, the connection that could either save or doom them both. Her bond with the alien, their shared existence, was not something the aliens' people would overlook. It was an asset. It was power. The wind picked up, swirling dust around them, and Elena looked up at the moons again, the faint glow of their light bathing the desert in an otherworldly cold glow. She had a choice to make, a final, irrevocable choice. I cannot protect you if you choose to escape. The alien continued, its voice soft but filled with an undeniable weight. The moment you leave this planet, they will find you. They will come for us both. They will make you one of them. A surge of panic tightened in Elena's chest. Escape. She had imagined it, dreamed of it. Earth, her home, felt like a distant memory now, like a life she no longer belonged to. Her connection to this alien, to this planet, was undeniable, and yet the thought of leaving this place seemed impossible. But she wasn't the same woman who had crash-landed here. She wasn't the same woman who had simply wanted to survive. No, this planet had changed her. The alien had changed her. The bond between them had shifted her very understanding of what it meant to be human. I never asked for this, Elena whispered, her voice trembling. I never asked to be part of this. The alien's gaze softened, almost sorrowful. None of us asked for what we became, but we do not have the luxury of choosing our paths now. You are not just a human being anymore, Elena. You are the future. The child, it grows within you. You must decide what kind of future you want to create. The words hung in the air, heavy with finality. The alien wasn't just talking about survival. It wasn't just asking her to make a choice between life and death. It was asking her to make a decision that would change everything. The future wasn't just some abstract concept anymore. It was real. It was now. And it was tied to her in ways she couldn't yet fully understand. Her hand instinctively moved to her abdomen, feeling the strange, growing warmth within her. The child. It was growing, a part of both worlds, a hybrid of human and alien, a being that could bridge the divide between her species and the alien race. This child could be the key to ending the war that loomed in the distance, or it could be a weapon, a force that could bring destruction to everything she held dear. Elena closed her eyes, feeling the weight of the decision settling on her shoulders. It was no longer about survival. It was about sacrifice. The aliens' people were coming, and they would not stop until they had what they wanted. They would not stop until they had control over her and over the child. She opened her eyes and looked at the alien, seeing something in its gaze that mirrored her own fear. But there was also something else there, a glimmer of hope. Maybe it wasn't too late. Maybe she could still control her fate. Maybe, just maybe, there was a way to change everything. I will stay, Elena said, her voice steady now, the resolve in her words clear. I will stay and fight. I will not let them take everything. Not without a fight. The alien nodded, a flicker of respect in its eyes. Then we will fight together. And in that moment, Elena knew. She had made her choice. She would not run. She would not hide. The future, both human and alien, was in her hands now. She had the power to shape it. But as the winds howled across the desert and the twin moons glowed ominously above them, Elena knew one thing for sure. The battle was just beginning, and it would determine the fate of not just her world, but every world. The alien's past, her future, and the child growing within her were all tied together in a way that could never be undone. The question was no longer if they would survive. It was how they would survive. And that answer would come soon.
Enough.